Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of, well, I almost said Fun with Flags. I watch a lot of Big Bang Theory, which is really funny. And I don't know if anyone's seen that show with Sheldon doing his little YouTube Fun with Flags episode. And, well, that's weird. I almost said that. I promise I'm awake. Hopefully somebody else can relate if you've seen any of those episodes with Big Bang Theory. But anyway, it's more fun with Caspio, where we learn how to build web applications using the Caspio platform. Yeah, but before I begin, hopefully you can hear me. Let me know if my audio is working and we can begin today's live stream. So if you are able to hear me, please let me know and we will begin with today's episode. Just type something inside the chat window. Let me know that my audio is working. Hey, Lucas, welcome back. Now, before I begin, I know I want to make sure I say this. I know I promised somebody, I can't remember who asked for this, to be able to control multiple users being able to see certain data, and then you want another user to be able to see the same data. I was going to implement that inside this application. However, very quickly, I ran into an issue of having too many data pages, which we don't have time for in these live streams. I ended up hitting 15, 20 data pages for this application. So I had to scale it down. Unfortunately, I did not build that into today's demo. However, please send me an email and let me know your exact workflow. I'm going to send my email in the chat one more time if you don't have it. So if you want to learn how to do that, I can even put together a small demo with tables so that you know exactly how to put together the table structure. Just send me the workflow, exactly what you're looking for, and then I will reply back today or tomorrow with a demo that you can import and be able to see how we go about having a more complex table structure with many-to-many so that other users can see certain data if you want to control that. I did not get your email, Lucas. That's really odd. I got Judith's email, but I didn't see your email come in. I'll check again, but I was looking for in my inbox to see if you sent something, but I did not get it. I'll check again after the live stream. You sent it twice? Interesting. I can't open up my email here during the live stream, but I will. I'll check again. But I did not see anything. It's really odd. I'll check again. I'll email you back, okay? I'll send you an email and then maybe reply back, and hopefully that works. All right. So we have a sizable application to build today. So let's just dive right into it and see how we can go about building a veterinary software where a practice or office can log in, be able to manage customers or owners. And then we have two-tiered one-to-many, where one owner or customer can be linked to many pets, and one pet can have many appointments and also medication, prescribed medication for that pet. I also have two tasks running in the background to send a reminder to the customer that the appointment is due, or their appointment is the next day. And I also have, when the medication expires, I want to send the owner a reminder that the pet's expiration, medication expiration is coming up. If you need to come in for a refill, you can come in and do that. So I sent the email right above there. I don't know if you can see that. Look, let me just send it one more time. But I will send you an email as well. Okay, I should have your email in the CRM. I should be able to find it and shoot you a quick email, just a test email that you can reply to. All right. So this solution or this idea was given to me by someone to create. And I thought it was worthwhile because we're going to be building some tasks together today. And we have a two-tier one-to-many so that you can see how we go from, in terms of the workflow, how we access the data for each pet and also for all the customers. Now, it's not a complete application. I'm going to show you what we have. So let's log in as a sample user, which happens to be me, so that we can test out the task. Whoops. Interesting. Right off the bat, we have a small hiccup. So let's see if we can fix that. Let me go into my live veterinary application. Let's go into my table. And who is, not the owner, that's me, but who is my Okay, so it's Sally Smith, ss@vet.com. All right, so let's do that. And I will flip back to my live app that we're going to be building today. All right, so ss@vet.com, password test. So as soon as I log in, I don't have anything on the dashboard, okay, but we have everything here under Manage Owners. So here I have the ability to manage customers as somebody from this practice. I can go into the details for Ned, who happens to be the owner of these pets. We go into the details, and in the details page, I will be able to see the owner details. And here we can control, if we want to send them SMS reminders and also email reminders. We can update the owner's info, and then we can also see all the associated pets with that particular owner. I can add a new pet via this form. So if Ned is bringing, or if they bought an additional pet, we can add it. I should have put a back button here, but we're just going to click back on the browser. And then in the pet details, let's say for Rusty, we have the pet's details that we can modify, and then we have appointments for Rusty, and we have the medication for Rusty. We can add a new appointment, and we can also add new medication that we're prescribing for that particular pet. We also have a simple form to add a new owner. Now, the way I put this together, just so I can have less data pages to build in today's live stream, you can see I'm controlling the notifications when I add the owner into the database. However, if you want to have a separate tab somewhere that says Manage Notifications, let's say this is called Manage Notifications. Well, on this tab or on that web page, you can have a separate data page or data pages to control notifications using checkboxes, drop downs, however you want to configure that. But just so I can save on time, I have combined both the notifications with the form inside the same table. Okay, so that's the application that we're building. Now there are two tasks in the background that are running, okay, and we're going to build those today. We're going to do some joins. We also have to do some date comparisons to calculate the date from today's date with the expiration date for medication to be able to send out the SMS and the email reminder. So as always, I'm going to show you the tables so you can see how they were created. We don't build tables in these live streams because they can be a bit time consuming, but I will go through each table, show you the data types and the fields. We also have the authentication created, and then we're going to dive in and build all the data pages. All right, so here is the web page that I've set up for today. We have all of our landing pages in Notepad++. As we build out the data pages, we're going to embed them inside Notepad++, push them live, and be able to see all of our finished work embed here seamlessly on our web page. So this application, we have 5 tables. It could be more tables if you have lookup tables. In this particular one, I don't have any lookup tables, even though I know I could. So let's go through it. We have the user table. User table is anybody from this practice or office that needs to log in to be able to manage pets and owners. So we have first name, last name, full name, email, password, and date created. Very simple, right? These are going to be our credentials to be able to log in and be able to manage everything. That's the user table. Then we have the owner table. The owner table is also very simple. We just have the primary key owner ID and all the information pertaining to the owners that we want to collect. And at the bottom, I have my 2 checkboxes to control if they want to be notified via SMS or if they want to be notified via email for their upcoming appointments and medication that's due to expire. We have a pets table. All right, so this is all the pet information. We have the pet ID. We also have the owner ID because we need to link all the pets back to our owners. It's a one-to-many because a single owner can have many pets. And then we have all the pet information. Okay, pretty typical. And then we have the medication and appointments. So for medication, we are linking back to our pets. It's our second tier one-to-many because a single pet can have a lot of different medication that's been prescribed over time. So we have the primary key, we have the pet ID, which is the foreign key, and then we have all the medication info. And last but not least, we have our appointments table. And here we have, again, the primary key, foreign key, because a single pet can have many appointments. And then we have all of the appointment information. Now, another reason why I decided not to have the owner login, which you can also include that inside this application, where once the owner logs into the app, they're going to be able to see some info, maybe upcoming appointments, maybe what medication is due. So you can create the whole experience for the owner as well, not just for the practice, this veterinary practice, okay? However, I was talking to my wife and she said, I don't have a login. I take Rusty in, all the time. I get SMS notifications and I get email notifications every time I need to get his medication refilled. So I figured, why don't we just simplify it and not have a login for the owner? Because again, even on the vet side, we have a lot of data pages to build. Okay. And let's see, did we go through all the tables? We did. We have our authentication for the user, which is Sally Smith, ss@vet.com. And yeah, let's go ahead and start developing all of our data pages. I always begin with the login screen. Okay, so if you're doing some kind of a redirect, or if you're doing based on the role, so you could have, a single login screen that takes the user to a different URL based on the role. Or in this case, we only have a single role, which is anybody from that office can log in. We're going to create a very simple login screen. And for that, we're going to use an HTML data page. Okay, and we're going to hit next. You have seen me do this countless times in the previous live streams, so I'll explain it one more time. We have our login, so we want to apply the authentication that's created from this object here. That's given access to Sally Smith. And then here we're going to disable the HTML editor. And if you're not doing based on the role, it's a very simple script. Okay, so we just type out script. I can just type today. Script window.location equals in parentheses, and then your destination URL. So when the user logs in, where do you want them to go? To what URL? I have a dashboard page.html, and then closing quotes, semicolon, and then just close your script. It's basically, the script is basically taking the user to this window location, dashboard.html, as soon as they log in. That's really the whole idea behind this. Now, if you have roles, then you have to include if, else. If they're an admin, take them to this URL. Else, if they're something else, take them to this URL. But this one's very simple. We're going to just hit finish. And that's it. And at this point, you can even deploy this login screen to your website if you want to. Just grab the deploy link, enable, grab the embed code, and inside the Notepad++, where we have the login page, we're simply going to paste our script and save. And once we push that page live, so where's my login page? There it is. And then we are going to go to our page. There's the login screen, and now Sally Smith can log in with her credentials, and we're going to be taken to a dashboard page. We don't have anything deployed on the dashboard page, and we are not building anything on the dashboard page. So if I wanted to, I could. It would make it look much nicer to have some charts, maybe see upcoming appointments. But again, that would cost us more data pages, and we just don't have the time to build all that out. But hopefully everyone knows how easy it is to do that, and simply just deploy everything and make it look nice. What we're going to do is build this data page to add a new owner or new customer. So let's create our folder first. Let's call this this. And inside that folder, we are going to develop our very first data page. And let's go with the submission form to be able to capture owner information. So add new owner. Style will be blue, localization English, and restrict access to the vet, Sally Smith. Let's include all the fields in the form. Let's hit next. And then just configure the form. Very simple. If you want these fields to be required, you can make them required. Phone and email are definitely going to be required because we want to be able to send the SMS or email, but you will have the option using the checkbox to decide if the owner doesn't want to receive an SMS, but they want to receive an email, you can just check the email instead. Address, city, state, this is completely up to you. Date created will be a timestamp so that we can stamp that automatically. And then SMS reminder. I always like to use display text. Check to send an SMS reminder. And then I don't like to have the label because this text enough is clear enough what that checkbox is going to be used for. And then let's just copy this text and go down to email reminder. Check to send an email reminder. And then again, we're going to disable the label. We can also add a heading. So why don't we add a very simple HTML block here and just say manage SMS and email reminders. And we'll highlight that, put that in bold, and maybe heading 3. And maybe above the first name, we can add another HTML block and say owner or customer info. Highlight that, put it in bold, heading 3. And I think I'm good with that. I don't think I need to make any more changes. We'll just click finish to save. And let's grab our deploy code for the form. Copy it. Go into our notepad and let's find new owner. And very simple, just take out the placeholder text, paste, and let's push this page live. So new owner. Let's have a look. Here's the form. And now I can add a new owner. If they come into the office and they want to bring their pets to our practice, they can, somebody internally can just fill this out. Why don't we go with maybe Bobby Sing, phone, something random, BS. Let's just go with Bobby S at owner.com, address 123, simple road, simple city, simple state, and then we'll just add a zip code. Now, let's check both of these. So we know that this is not a legit or valid phone number or email, so it's not really going to send to anybody, but I will show you later. I'm using my own work email so that you can see how using the task we can receive those notifications. I won't be using my phone number, obviously. We don't want to expose that for security, but let's go ahead and hit submit. So now we have an owner added to our database. We want to be able to manage owners, so now we have to build this data page to output the data. So we go back to data pages and we set up a brand new one. Let's go with reports, tabular, hit next, and we want to pull information from the owners table. Manage owners. Let's go with the with the blue style, English localization, restrict access, and continue. I always like to have my results appear underneath the search form and display the results on the initial load. Hit next. No need for RLS because somebody from this office is likely going to be an admin, or maybe everyone has access to all the information, so we don't actually enable RLS in this case. But if you wanted to from that office, maybe you have the owner of that practice, they might be able to see more than, let's say, one of their employees. Then you have to set up your tables a little bit differently in order to do that. And then you set up RLS because the employee doesn't get to see everything that the owner does when they log in. All right, let's search based on first name, last name, phone, and email. Of course, you can have any other field that you'd like. For my search fields, just to speed things up, let's go ahead and use contains for all of our search fields. Of course, you don't have to use text fields. You can use drop downs and radio buttons. And I'm also going to put my search fields with the label on top, and I want 4 columns. So they're not one on top of the other. I want my search fields to be side by side, right? So that we can maximize on space on our website. All right, so then on the results page, let's have first name, last name. Let's have phone, email. I do want the address field, but I'm going to show you, I don't know if you've seen this before, but inside the HTML block, we can organize the address info. So instead of having multiple columns in our tabular report, we can have the whole address inside a single column. Then we'll do then we'll do date created maybe. And the rest of this information we can have in a custom details page. No need for inline edit. We'll enable editing on the details page. And then here we're just going to include an HTML block. And you've seen me do this countless times before, where we create a link to be able to redirect and pass the owner ID to the next page. So we're going to call this details, or you can call it owner details, up to you. Highlight the text, click on the link button, and then just put the owner details.html page, which I believe is what I called it. Owner details, yes, okay. And in the process, we want to pass the owner ID as a query string parameter to the subsequent page. Click OK. One thing that you want to do that, if you are clicking on this link button, Caspio always adds this HTTP protocol in the before the URL. If you want to keep the path relative in the same directory, just remove the HTTP. Okay? Because once we click on that link, we remain in that same directory and we just go to owner-details.html. And in the process, again, you're passing the owner ID. And the reason why we do that is because when I add the pet, I want to be able to stamp the owner's ID into the pets table. Let me see if I'm missing anything from here. Oh yeah, we said the address field, right? So why don't we add an HTML block? And here we're going to call this address. And very simple, we're going to insert the address field. And underneath that, we want to state city and zip. City, state, and zip. Oops, not date created, zip. All right. So again, instead of having 4 different columns, right, that displays state, address, city, state, and zip, we include everything inside a single column, and it's going to be much more legible, I think, to be able to read the information. I think it's better that way. Yeah. If my memory... So it's going to look something like this. Okay. Oh, let me just put a comma after city. All right, let's continue. Let's have 25 by default. Let's continue, and let's not have a details page because, again, I'm creating a custom details page. All right, let's deploy that. Let's grab the Notepad++, manage owners, and find our placeholder text, paste, save, and let's go live. Manage owners. All right, so I did have myself inside a table as the first user, but here we can now add new owners, and as soon as you add somebody, you go to manage owners, and you're going to be able to see all the information that you added. By the way, you don't have to do this just for the address fields. Okay, you can do this for other fields as well. If you want to maximize on space, depending on how much space you have on your web page. Like I could also put the first and last name side by side in a single column. That's doable as well. You can put the phone and email, maybe one underneath the other, and call that contact info as the label. So that's something else you could do. All right, so the next thing we want is to create the owner details. So when I click on this link, we go to owner details, and here we want to display that custom details page, and I want to be able to see all the pets that are linked to these owners. All right, so let's start with the custom details page. Report custom details based on the owner table, and we're going to call this owner details. Blue style, English localization, restrict access, continue, and we want to filter data based on predefined criteria. So when I pass the owner ID, I know I repeat myself every live stream, and I apologize, but you know, sometimes we get new people to attend these live streams, so I kind of have to explain it each and every time, so I apologize. We want to filter data based on predefined because in my live example, when I click on this link, owner details, I pass the owner ID to this page called owner details. So that's why on this data page, we want to filter the owner details based on this ID that we receive. So we go filter data based on the owner ID, and we want to, in the advanced tab, we want to receive this value now externally, and we call the parameter OID, and value is required. So you just have to remember how to set this up. Okay, because in order for you to see the owner details, you have to receive this value that we passed in the URL, because this data page is going to receive this value, and then we can filter the owner details based on that ID that belongs to me, or Ned in this case. Okay, let's hit next. And now what fields do we want to be able to display? So let's have the first name, last name. Why don't we have phone? Well, we're going to include all these fields. Hit next. The date created can be at the very top. First name is going to be editable. So most of these fields, as you can see, are going to be modifiable in the details view. But just bear with me for a second. I made these optional for the address fields. And then here we have our two checkboxes. So that's going to be a checkbox. And we want to repeat what we said earlier. Send an SMS reminder. Take out the label. Actually, I said check to send an SMS reminder. So why don't we copy this text and repeat the same thing for email. Check to send an email reminder. And we're going to disable the label. Now, if you wanted to, you can also add, your headings inside that HTML block, manage SMS and email notifications. You can highlight the text, make it bold, 3, and then above the first name, or actually this time above the address field, we can say owner info, highlight, bold, and heading 3. And that's it. That's it for the details page. Let's go ahead and click next here and just disable. I don't like to navigate next to previous records. That's my personal preference. I always like to go back to the list of customers or contacts and then click into details again. But if it's easier for you to navigate to the next previous records from the details page, of course, you can enable this checkbox here. All right, let's grab our deploy code and locate our web page for owner details. So here we're going to embed two different data pages. The first one is the owner details. Let's push this live. Okay, and let's have a look. And there's the owner details. Looks very much like the submission form, except now we're pulling information. Why? Because when I click on this link for the owner's details, I'm passing Ned's ID in the URL. And my details page receives this ID and is able to show or display information belonging to Ned from the database. And if ever Ned says, I don't want to receive an SMS reminder, you can always uncheck this box, click update, and Ned will no longer receive an SMS reminder that the medication is due for a refill or that there's an upcoming appointment. They only want to receive an email reminder. All right. Next data page that we want to create is to be able to see all the related pets that belong to Ned. So let's build out that data page. Reports. Let's go with the tabular format. Now you could, maybe I should have added some images too. Would have been nice to see the image of the pet. I forgot about that. In that case, I might have gone with the list view or gallery if I have an image, but let's go with the tabular. I only have text data based off of the pets table. And we want to call this maybe view pets. Style is going to be blue. Localization is going to be English. Restrict access. Hit next. And here we also want to be able to filter data. Why? Because, you could have a search form, no problem. It's just that, how many pets can an owner really have? Even if I had, 10 pets, I should be able to see all 10 listed here in the report without me having to search for them. Okay. So that's what I was thinking when I built this out. So we filter data, hit next, based on the owner ID. So we want to be able to filter out all the pets that belong to the owner ID. Hit next. And in the advanced tab, we receive the value externally. Again, OID, that's the parameter name. Value is required. Hit next. And now what information do we want to display about the pet? So why don't we have the pet name, type, breed? Well, actually, we can probably include all of this information. Hit next. Do we want the ability to do an inline edit or inline delete? You could, but I'm making all of my fields modifiable on the details page. So therefore, I don't really enable any editing capability on the results page. You could, again, you could if you wanted to. Click next. Let's see, do I want to make any modifications to my, maybe for the notes field, what we could do is we can truncate that and show less characters, maybe 40, and allow the user to expand and collapse. Because if you have long text, using a tabular report, it won't look as good. But if you truncate the text, well, then you can manually expand and collapse if you want to see more notes about the pet. And here we also want to include an HTML block, and we want that to say maybe pet details. Highlight the text, click on the link button, and then put pet. Well, I think I called my page pet details. Let me just double check. I called it pet details, yeah. Question mark, PID for pet ID, equal sign, and then we insert the pet ID that we're going to be passing. Click OK. Don't forget to click on the source button and remove this protocol, HTTP, if you're staying in the same path, in the same directory. However, if you have directories, maybe pet, you may want to include that directory where you have the web pages for your pet. If you have a folder called pet where you plan on having all of your web pages for it. And I think that's all I need to display. Oh, there is one other thing that I need to include here, actually. I almost forgot. Header and footer. Inside a header, I want to be able to add a new pet. So there might be a link, there might be a button that says add new pet. So let's call this add pet. Highlight the text. Once again, we're going to click on this button. And then what we want to do here is slightly different. Okay, I'll explain why in just a second. So yeah, what did I call my page? Let me see. I think I called it add pet. Let me see. Add pet, yeah. So add pet.html question mark equal sign. And instead of now passing the actual field by clicking on the insert button for owner ID, that information was already passed to that page, right? So what we want to do here is in the brackets, you want to put at OID for owner ID. So you're not actually passing the field because we already received this ID on this page. So it's already here. So when I click on add pet on this report, you're basically just transmitting or passing this ID to the next page, okay, without actually being a field. It's kind of hard to explain because it's already there in the browser URL. So you're just kind of passing it through to the next page, okay? So this is how it needs to be written, okay? I'll talk a little bit more about that once we have this data page deployed. I'm going to click OK. And inside the source, again, I need to remove the HTTP. So add pet. Now I'm confusing myself a little bit. Sorry. So I need to repeat the OID equals OID. I don't know what I'm thinking this morning. So question mark OID equals OID. Okay, because we need to pass the parameter, and then because the field already exists on that page, you're simply passing it through to the next page instead of you adding it as an actual parameter here. Because if you click on this, see the difference? You're actually passing the field. Okay, but you don't want to do that. You just want to write it as OID, at OID. Okay, because you're simply passing the parameter that you already passed. Hopefully that's right. I don't know why I'm confusing myself. It should be right. Yeah. All right, so let's click next. And we're not going to make any changes here. Let's disable the details page and click finish. And let's have a look. We're going to deploy this. Copy. Let's go into our Notepad++. Owner details. Here's my placeholder. Paste. And let's push this one live. Once again. All right, now you will see some linked pets because I have some sample data in the database. We have Rusty and Silver. Now, I want to explain this. From this page, when we click on owner details, you are passing the owner ID in the URL. We already passed it, okay? So that's why when you click on this hyperlink, you can, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen, you will see OID and the ID that belongs to net. Okay, so you don't need to add that as a field. It already exists on this page. You're just simply passing it through to the next data page or next web page. So when I click on this link, the ID is still inside the URL. And now on this page, I need to build a form to add a pet and stamp the owner ID into the pets table. Okay. Okay, good. Glad that the repetition is helpful. All right. So let's go ahead and build that data page really quickly for add pet. So submission form, click next. We are going to go off of our pets table. Let's call this add new pet. Blue style, English localization, restrict access, click next, and we need all of our fields in our form. We're going to click next. Now for the owner ID, remember we're passing the ID in the URL, so we can just make that field hidden and receive it externally as OID. Everything is tied together with the parameter name, OID. Then we have our pet name, likely going to be a required field. The type could have been a drop-down. So if you had a lookup table for all the different types, maybe cat, rat, not rat, but cat, maybe a dog and some other type of pet, you can do that. Required, maybe a rat. Breed can also be a drop-down. You could also do a cascading drop-down. So if you select a cat, you have different breeds for cats. If you select dog, you have different breeds for dogs, like German Shepherd, Doberman, things like that. Date of birth, required. Gender, required. And notes, text area, we can keep that optional. Now, I think with the notes, just like having appointments for each pet and medication for each pet, you're likely going to have a notes section as well as a one-to-many. Because each time a pet comes in for a checkup, you might have different notes. Instead of keeping everything inside a single field, historical notes, I think it's better to separate that into a one-to-many. That would be my recommendation. I didn't do it for this application. It would have cost a few more data pages, so we kept it all in the pets table. All right, let's hit next. Your submission was successful. You could have your submission was successful, or when you add the pet, you can redirect the user back to, what do we call that page? Pet details or owner details. So we go back to owner details .html question mark, and then again just send the parameter back to the previous page, and we're going to keep the path relative because we were staying in the same directory. Is it OID or is it? Yeah, it's OID. Okay. So let's test this out. We're going to hit finish to save. And let's grab add pet, our deploy code, and in Notepad++, add pet, save, and let's push this live. All right, we're getting there. So let's add a new pet. There's my form. I don't know, Kirby, type, dog, breed, Doberman, date of birth. Go down a little bit. Gender, male, notes, as, I don't know, issues with bladder. Submit. So as soon as I submit, we go back to the owner details where I can now see Kirby added as the latest pet for Ned. Okay. And then you can continue adding notes. But as I was saying, when you go to pet details, you don't have to have the notes here. You can go to pet details. And here you can have another section for notes, and you can just continue adding notes, multiple notes for that particular pet, instead of keeping it all here in the notes section. All right, so everything ties together nicely. We're passing the owner ID to the form. There's a hidden field here receiving the owner ID. So upon submission, we stamp the owner ID into the pets table. Upon submission, we go back to owner details, and everything stays tied to this owner ID until you go to a different owner, maybe in this case, Bobby. You can see we passed Bobby's ID, but Bobby doesn't have any pets, but you could add a pet really quickly. Sally, type, cat. I don't know what type. I don't really know anything about cats. Just say feline. Date of birth. Oh, I could do Siamese, but let's not do that. Female, NA, submit, and there's a first added pet for this particular owner. All right, we go back to Ned, and he is linked to 3 different pets. So now we're going to go to pet details and continue building everything out. So let's go into the details for maybe Rusty. And we want to be able to first see the pet details where we can modify the fields. So I will go back to my data pages, click on new data page, and let's build a custom details page based off of the pets table. Pet details. Style is going to be blue. Localization is going to be English. Restrict access and continue. Of course, we're not searching for anything. We're simply looking at the details for Rusty or any other pet that we click on. And I want to be, initially I like to include all of the fields, but let me see if I need to include all the fields. Maybe I can just quickly, I know I need pet name, these fields. I don't need owner ID and I don't need pet ID to be displayed on the details view. Sorry, these are my filtering fields. Let me go back. I make this mistake many times. We need to filter the pet's information based on the pet ID. That's the number one thing that we need to do. Because when I click on the pet details link, we pass the pet ID. Same as what we did with the owners, where we pass the owner ID. This time we're just passing the pet ID. And in the advanced tab, we receive the value externally. And this is PID for pet ID, value required. And now what information we want to display on the details page. And I want these fields to be modifiable. Again, these could be drop downs, but I have them as text fields. And notes can be a text area. Click next, disable that, click finish, and that's the details view. Let's hit deploy, grab our embed code, and very simple. Go to pet details, and we're going to be deploying 3 different data pages here. So starting off with the pet details. All right, as soon as I reload, we're going to be able to see the pet's details. And now I can always update that at any time. Next up, we have appointments and we have medication. So let's go with the appointments first. So new data page. Tabular report, hit next. It's already selected for me. Let's call this view appointments. Blue style. Restrict access, click next. All right, so we want to be able to filter our appointments for our pet. Hit next based on the pet ID that we passed from the previous page. And again, this is the same exact setup. Receive the value externally, PID, value required, hit next. And now on the results page, I want to display the date, time, purpose, and notes. Do I want inline edit? You could have inline edit. I think for the appointments, it's okay because I don't have a custom details. So here, maybe you want to do an inline edit. So you want to maybe change the appointment date to a different date, or maybe you want to change, I don't know, the purpose of the appointment or the time. So that's why inline edit could be helpful here. Or you can do another custom details page if you wanted to. So let's see, what do we want to add here? We definitely want to add a header and footer because I need to have a link up here that's going to allow me to create a new appointment. So we want to say new appointment. Highlight the text, click on the link button, and then here we want, what did I call my web page? New appointment? Let me see. I called it new appointment. Okay, so new underscore appointment dot HTML question mark PID equals, and again, it's the same thing, PID, and then close the brackets. We already passed the page, the pet ID from the previous page. And it's already existing on that web page. So you do not need to pass it using a query string parameter this way. Okay, you simply just use the existing pet ID that you already passed and you're passing it through to the next page. Okay, this allows us to add a new appointment for that pet. Click OK. In the source, I just want to remove the HTTP and click next. Next, no details, and finish. All right, let's go ahead and deploy that now. Grab our deploy code. Come over here to pet details. So we're starting off with the appointments. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so there's the appointment. I already had this in a database for Rusty. But now we're going to set up a form to add a new appointment. Okay, so when I click on this link, you can see how I'm passing the pet's ID. You can see it in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen, VJR0OBR4. So when I click on that link, it's going to take me to this page for new appointment, and now I need to build a form to add a new appointment. So let's do that next. Submission form based on the appointments table, add new appointment. And I know that I'm repeating myself over and over again when I build these apps. Sound like a broken record sometimes. But that's really what it takes, you know, to build an app in Caspio and to teach somebody how to build an app in Caspio. You can see it's just a lot of pointing and clicking, selecting your options, clicking next until you save and deploy. English, restrict access, click next. Okay, we need all of our fields. Click next, and then pet ID. Remember, we passed the pet ID. Okay, that information we already passed. Okay, so now we can make that field hidden on the form, receive it, and our parameter name was PID. We have the appointment date, required. We have the appointment time, required. Purpose, required. And notes, perhaps, you know, but we'll just make them required anyway. Hit next. And instead of seeing a confirmation message for that appointment, what we can do is redirect back to the pet details, right? I want the user to go back. As soon as I hit submit here, I want the user to go here so that I can see that appointment. Okay. But you could also have a confirmation message if you'd like. I mean, this is entirely up to you, but I always like to redirect back here. Okay, so let's come back here. Equals bracket at PID and close it and keep the path relative. And that's it. Finish and save. There's my form. Let's grab it. And we'll have 2 more data pages left to build and we'll be done. All right, so back to my Notepad++, new appointment. There's my placeholder, save. Plug and play. That's what I always tell everyone. That's how Caspio works. All right, so now I can add a new appointment. There's my form. I can set the date. Maybe appointment date will be the 21st. And you'll see later when I build a task, how we can send Ned an email or SMS reminder 1 day before the appointment date so they're aware, hey, your pet's appointment is coming up. Appointment time, maybe 5 p.m. Appointment purpose. I always struggle with this. Maybe CT scan. I don't know if they do CT scans for pets. Maybe they do. Appointment notes. Checking to see any abnormalities with Rusty's head. We'll hit submit and it should redirect me back to this page. And now I can see that appointment. I could also reverse this so I can see the upcoming appointment first. It's up to you how you sort the data. But now I can see that appointment and I can add another appointment if needed. Let's go with medication next. So we're going to build a new data page. Reports next based off the medication table. And let's call this view medication. Blue style, localization English, restrict access, click next. And yeah, let's filter the data once again. I don't imagine over the course of the pet's lifetime that we're going to have too many medications prescribed. We should be able to see everything nicely in a list without the need to search. But you can always build search forms if needed. All right, so we need to filter based on pet ID. So this is all same as before. Receive the external parameter, PID. Next. So on the results page, let's see the medication name, dosage, frequency, start date, end date, and notes. And maybe you want to do an inline edit, no problem. Let's do that. And then here in the header, same as before, I want to now be able to say new medication. So if there's new medication I'm prescribing, I want to be able to click on this link and take the user to newmedication.html !PID equals, and in the brackets add PID and close the bracket and hit OK. And I think I call that page new medication. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's hit next. Next. No need for details page and save. All right, one more data page left to create, and then we have 2 tasks that we're going to build, which is going to be very quick. So we go to pet details, and we have the medication. Pet details. All right, there we go. So that's the medication I added earlier for Rusty. But if I want to add new medication, once again, I have to build that form, right? So when I go to new medication, oh, did I mess up my new medication dot? Oh, I see again, I need to remove that HTTP protocol from my data page. So let's go back to view medication. And inside my header, I need to remove the HTTP. Finish. All right, should have worked now. There we go. So now I need to add new medication for Rusty. So we're going to build that form. Click next. Medication. Let's just call it new medication. Blue style. English, restrict access, continue. We're going to need all of our fields on this form. Click next. Pet ID is going to be a hidden field. Receive SPID, all the same setup as before. Medication name is going to be required, dosage required, frequency required, start and end date are going to be required, and notes optional, up to you, but I'm going to keep it required just in case there's more notes that the vet wants to provide regarding that medication. Okay, let me see if there's anything else here. Nope. Let's go and redirect back to the other page. So this was, why do I keep forgetting? Pet details. Pet details.html question mark PID equals, and in the brackets we want PID, and that's it. Keep it relative, save, and we have officially developed our entire application. Can it be cleaned up and made nicer? Yeah, absolutely. You can always tweak the application to make it more to flow better if you want to, or you can style it to look nicer. That's always possible. As you guys know, we don't actually focus on the aesthetics in these live streams. We are just here to build out the functionality. But if you're meticulous and you want to make things look much more presentable, to me, that's fun. You know, I actually enjoy making the application look nicer. So that is definitely something that you can do. Where was this new medication? Let's move that live. And that's it. Let's have a look. Refresh. New medication. Let's add one. Tylenol. I don't think that's ever gonna be the case for pets, or maybe it is. I have no idea. Frequency. Once a week. Start date today. And because I want to receive a notification, let's do the date. Today's the 13th, right? Yeah, so the 14th, because I want to be able to receive 1 day before the end of the expiration date to test things out. So we're going to put the 14th here. Notes, take once in the morning with food. Hit submit. Should take me back here, and now we have the medication that we have prescribed for Rusty. All right, that's it. We can go back to manage owners, and we can go within the owner details. We see the owner details. We see all the pets that are linked to the owner. We can add a new pet. We can go back. I can go into the pet details where I can see the pet details and be able to manage all the appointments, medication. And if you had notes, again, you could have a notes section. You just need a notes table, and same workflow as before where you pass the pet ID and you stamp the pet ID into the notes table. Okay. Now let's finish everything off with the task. So we are going to build a task here, and you're going to be able to configure this to run daily. Likely you're going to set this up to run daily to check against the date field in your database. The task is going to run daily, and if it finds that it's 1 day before the actual date, like for example, the expiration date, the task will trigger. and you're going to get those email and SMS notifications. But because I'm not going to run this daily, I'm going to just run this on demand. I will change my run task to be on demand, right? Because we're just going to run it once, and I'm going to delete this after the live stream. So we want the action to send an email and also to send an SMS. And what you want to do is click on the gear icon to select, and we're going to select from the appointments table, right? We need to grab the date from the appointments table. And we'll start with the appointments first, and then we'll work our way into the medication with the other task. It's very important to grab the appointment date, right? So that we can send that notification a day before the appointment. So that's why we want to select from the appointments, but we need to create 2 more joins. In order for me to get the email that belongs to that owner, we need to create 2 joins. We need to join the appointments with the pet, and we also want to join the pet with the owner. Okay, we have 2-tier one-to-many relationships. So we click on the gear icon here, and we select join. And we want to join with the appointments with the pet. Let's start with the pet. And then our 2 linking fields here are pet ID with the pet ID from the other table. Sorry, appointment table. And then we want to add 1 more join with the owners table. And then we have the owner ID from the pets table. And we have the owner ID from the owner table. Okay, so that's how you create those 2 joins. Select from the appointments table, and now when you do that, you have access to all of these fields from all 3 tables that you can use inside your task. Okay, so hopefully this is not too difficult. We're just doing 2 inner joins, right? We want to join with the pets table, and we want to join with the owners table, because you have the primary keys and you have the foreign keys in both of those 2 tables. Okay, so now we're going to do something conditional where, and we have 2 conditions that we need to set up. Okay, so we need to grab, in the logic, we need to grab the and we also want the, 1 more of these to be added. So where the, inside the owner table, where the email reminder is true, so we want this object here, we want that to be true. Go ahead and do that. And now we need to calculate that 1 day from today's date and the appointment date. So we're going to go to the date, and we want difference in days from today's date. So we want to grab the timestamp. I want that to be today's date. And now we have access to the appointments field, right? So we go back to data, grab the field, and that needs to be the appointment date, and we want that to equal 2. We need to grab the number. So move that over here. We want that to equal to 1. All right, so both of these 2 conditions are true. If it's checked to receive an email reminder, okay, which is the field that we had when we added the owner, and the difference between the appointment date and today's date equals to 1, they are going to get an email reminder. And now we just set up the email. And now you can see why we had to do these joins, because I need to grab the information from the owner table. So I need the owner's email. So we go to data, field, snap that in place, and we select the email that belongs to the owner. And now you can have fun with customizing your message however you want. So we can say appointment reminder for, and you can now insert even the information from the pets table. So a pet's name in this case, which would be Rusty. Appointment reminder for Rusty. Okay. You can say hi, and then you can insert the name that belongs to the owner. Just a reminder that, and you can say Rusty's, you can insert the field apostrophe S that Rusty's appointment is appointment date, is on, you can grab the appointment date. All right, at appointment time. All right, so that's in here. Sincerely, office name. Okay. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun customizing these messages however you want when it comes to personalizing the content of the body of the email and also the subject line. And then we have SMS. So instead of rebuilding everything from scratch, right, which you could, I don't recommend it because you can just, you know, duplicate. But before I duplicate, I do want to select here. Select. And now I will go ahead and just make a duplicate of that and snap that in place down here. Let me see. That's the whole select. So we're just going to do that. And then you can remove this one. Because it's the same exact setup. If I want to receive an SMS, I need to make sure that the SMS now is checked. It's 1 day before the appointment. And now you will just set up the SMS. Again, you can grab the field for phone number. Snap that in place. What's happening here? Oh, I need to click on it first, I believe. Yeah, I need to click on it first. Okay, and then we grab the owner's phone number. Now, one thing you want to watch out for here, when you're collecting the phone number or adding the phone number via the form, so new owner, and you're adding the phone number, you have to have a prefix of 1 before the area code. If you don't have that, let's say you're just collecting like this, and you don't add the 1, then what you want to do is add the country code, or you're going to have to add 1, I believe here. I have to kind of look and see how this works, because this is for country code. But in order, yeah, this will be for country code. In order for you to actually send to the proper phone number, I believe you have to add the prefix of 1 before the area code. And then if you have a country code for a different country, obviously you want to add either a static number here for country code if you're just sending an SMS to one country, or if you had a field in your form before the phone number field, maybe another field up above that says country code, then you might have multiple country codes that you're sending SMS to. Then you want to append that field over here, which will be the same thing. So if you had a country code field, you would select it from this dropdown. Okay. But for domestic numbers, I believe all you need is a 1 in front. And again, just like the email up here, you can just copy that if you want the exact same thing to appear underneath. Okay. And that's how you create the task to send an email and an SMS 1 day before the appointment to the owner to let them know about their pet. So we can now save, validate and save. I'm just going to save it and just say send email and SMS reminders for appointments. And save and enable. So it should work now. Let me make sure, because I'm using my email in the owner table. I have the appointment date for tomorrow. So if I run this, I should receive an email. Let me move this up. Give me a second. Let me just verify my table. Make sure I still use my email here. Email is right. And then let me take a look at my appointments. Oh, you know what? For appointments, I added the tomorrow's date for the medication, but I need one for the appointment. So if I just change this appointment date to be for tomorrow, let's save. Now let me run the task. Just checking my inbox here on the second monitor to see if I get anything. Hopefully I do. Oh, there we go. It just came in. So let me bring this in here. All right. So there is the subject, appointment reminder for Rusty. Hi, Ned. La 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 la. Sincerely, la 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 la. Okay. And now for the second task, for the medication. So all you need to do, instead of building everything from scratch, just make a copy of it. And we're going to call this, send an email SMS for expired medication. Okay, so we're going to edit. And then we're going to say select from the medication table. So it's already linking all the things for me, medication ID, pet ID, from the medication table, pet ID to that. So that's right. Send an email reminder. It's true. So this is accurate. One date. And this needs to be the medication expiration date. So if today's date equals to 1 from the expiration date of the medication, send me that reminder. And then you just have to change the information inside the body of the email and also the subject. So medication expiration. And then you can just compose your message. Hi, so-and-so. The medication for Rusty is due to expire on, and then you put the expiration date, which will be tomorrow. So you can include that here. Medication end date, right? So that's it. That's all you have to do. And then for the second one, for the SMS, we're also going to do medication. Send an SMS reminder. All of this is correct, and you just have to now configure the body of the message. So we're going to copy this text down here and paste that like that. And that's it. So let's save it. Where's my message? Medication ID, owner ID. Oh, appointment date. This needs to be medication end date. There we go. So let's save. It's done. Enable. And we are going to run that task for expiration. So hopefully I get an email here that Rusty's medication is going to expire tomorrow, because I believe that I did put tomorrow's date for medication. I did. There we go. There it is. Hi, so-and-so. The medication for Rusty is due to expire tomorrow. So that's it. We have officially built everything. Let me pull up see if there's any questions. Hopefully this was all pretty easy to follow. I know tasks can be a little bit complicated at times, but there's going to be a recording available after today's live stream. And I can also make this application available as a download if anybody wants it, just to see how everything was created. And if you want to import this into your account just for practice, you can always have it handy and see how it was created. And of course, when you import the application into your account, I want to make sure everybody understands, they don't have to be deployed, okay? Because I know in terms of resources, you're limited to how many data pages you can have in your account unless you go to a higher plan. You can undeploy all of these data pages, keep them undeployed, because in your account, I believe you have up to 5 times more data pages that you can create. Okay? So the number of deployed data pages is what you're restricted to when it comes to your pricing plan. But you can build up to 5 times more what you have allotted in your account in terms of what pricing that you're on. So if you want to use this application for practice purposes, you can. I can make it available as a download, and you can download it in the description of the YouTube video later on. And just follow the video if you want to rebuild this whole entire thing yourself. So hopefully we learned something new today. My goal is always to bring something into the live stream that we haven't covered before. I am running out of things that I can talk about because we have had over 100 live stream episodes, and I believe that I've covered just about everything. The things that I haven't covered are more technical, which require more scripting, which I don't really like to get into, just because, you know, we have a lot of newcomers into the live stream who are not familiar with scripting. So we try to focus mostly on standard features in the platform. Okay, sounds good. I'll make it available as a download. Yeah, no worries. I'll provide the file in the description. Just tune in. I know sometimes I say in the afternoon and I make it available the next day, so I get busy at times. I'll do my best to make it available today. in the description of the video. So if you come back, you'll be able to download it. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that's good to know, right? I don't know if many people know that, but like if you go to Caspio and you go to our pricing page, we say you have up to 20 data pages, but if you hover over, you'll see at the very bottom, build 5 times more within your account. So even though in my account, I have deployed, how many are there? 4, 8, 10, 11. So I've deployed, as you can see, 11. In the starter plan, I can have up to 20 deployed data pages, which means I can build 9 more data pages here and deploy them. And that will be my limit. But you can have up to 100 data pages inside your account. You just have to keep it undeployed. So that's the restriction. Okay. So if you're building prototypes, proof of concepts, and you want to build more just to see if it's going to function the way you want, you can continue building. And if you're happy with what you created, well, then you can either upgrade to the next plan, or I believe you can also just purchase a la carte additional data pages. I can't remember how many you can purchase or add on to your account without really jumping to the next plan. So everything can be purchased a la carte. Yeah, I can't remember actually how many data pages you can buy. I know our support team and our sales team has a link to a page that talks about all the add-ons. I want to say it's like 10 additional deployed data pages, but I don't want to say the price because I could be off. I don't want to overpromise anything. All right, so that's my time. Thank you so much for coming back to the live streams. I do appreciate your attendance. I promise I'll do something better with my hair next time. I see these long streaks coming from the side, which I didn't realize was going to happen, so I apologize. All right, thank you all so much. I'll let you go. Next, in 2 weeks, our next live stream, I believe it's actually going to be in 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. There's going to be a bit of a delay, but we are building a medication tracker. So when a doctor prescribes a medication to a patient can provide updates on any symptoms, and they can communicate back with the doctor. So it's part of a, what do you call that, ERP? I don't know what it's called now. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of the healthcare type applications that you can develop in the whole entire ecosystem of a, I think it's ERP, but I don't know. Sorry. But that's where we're going to be building. It's in the healthcare industry. This topic came in from somebody that wanted to see how that's done. So you're going to see 2 different logins, doctor, patient. Doctor, similar to what we did today, doctor can prescribe medication, and then the patient logs in and they can provide updates, any symptoms they're experiencing for the whole duration of that prescribed medication. And then they can communicate back and forth. And of course, doctors can lower the dosage or change the frequency for patients. So you will see 2 different logins next week, or sorry, in 3 weeks from now. Once again, thank you so much. I see a lot of familiar names in these live streams. I do appreciate your attendance. I always say this at the end of my live stream. You don't actually have to pay attention to what I'm saying. Just put me to the side. As long as you're attending, that's very helpful. And then the live stream will continue on ongoing sessions, ongoing basis, as long as there's attendance, of course. If there's no attendance, there's no point, right? So thank you so much again for coming back, and we'll see you in 3 weeks. All right, I'm going to end the live stream now, and we'll see you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.